Hello friends, and welcome back to My Hobby Home. My name is Cathy. Thank you so much for joining me today. We are doing our Smash the Stash Saturday sew along. The pattern that we are working on is called Love Cats. This is a Villa Rosa Designs pattern. It is by Trisha Lynn Maloney. So I have all my fabrics cut out right here. We do have to do them in a certain order. Let's see what we have right now. These are our ears that we did last week. This week we are going to be making the face shape, and we will be putting the little white squares on each corner to make a face, a little face there. So I have my squares here. I think I told y'all last time we were winging it, and we are. I have not marked a single piece of fabric, and we're just gonna go with it and see how it goes. So we're gonna get started on this, but we will keep chit-chatting. So how are you doing? Are you guys having a good day? It is Saturday when y'all are seeing this, but it is Friday night. I've just come off the sew along with Tammy and Alicia on our Yuletide sampler, and guys, oh my goodness, that quilt is going to be so much fun to do with Alicia and Tammy. We had such a good time tonight. And if you missed the live, the replay will be I will have the replay tomorrow for you guys, hopefully, if we can figure out how to take it from Tammy's channel and download it to ours. We're thinking it may take just a little bit of time for that to happen, but the replay will be available, hopefully, tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. if you're interested in watching that replay. And guys, if y'all are not yet subscribed to Tammy and Alicia, please go over to their channels and subscribe and share the love with them. They've both got really great channels. Alicia is so funny, and y'all know how I love Tammy. I love going on hers. She and I, this is the second sew along that Tammy and I have done, and we've just added Alicia into the mix. And those of you that were there, you can vouch, we had a really good time. We had a fairly decent little turnout for this to be our first session for the sew along. And guys, we will be back the 4th Friday of the month, and we know Fridays are football nights. Back to school. A lot of people are at football games, sport events, or choirs, or things like that. Because I remember I had one in choir, and she had a lot of things on Friday nights. I know we're getting into homecoming season, because one of my daughters had a friend that her little sister won homecoming queen, and she's not a size 2. Let's just put it like that. And she's trying to find a field suit, which is the suit that they wore when walking on the field to get their crown. and she could not find a suit. Well, my daughter called me because my daughter was also the homecoming queen, and she had a beautiful suit, and she wanted to know if I still had the suit because the queens have to wear white suits. And the little friend could not find a white suit in her size. They're all itty bitty suits. And so she was trying to see if I still had her old suit. She was going to let her have it, which I had already carried it. I believe I had carried it to a consignment shop already. And that shop has not gotten back with me about anything, and you can't tell me nothing I carried. I carried 16 formal dresses up there. And you can't tell me at least 1 out of 16 dresses hadn't sold. But I'm going to have to go up there and find out, because I don't care if I only got $10 a dress. That was over just for the formal dresses that my daughter wore her senior year, because she wore she had a cotillion dress. She was the cotillion queen, chosen by her peers. And she was, let's see, so she had cotillion, she had homecoming, and for homecoming she had, let's see, they had their photo outfit, then they had their parade outfit, and all of their outfits have to, like, she was queen, so she had to wear white. So she had her photo outfit, her parade outfit, her, like, for that day they had the court where they they present them. They had their court presentation, which is a formal. And then they had the football game, which was a suit. That's where they were awarded their crown. And then they had the homecoming dance, which was a formal. So that's formal number 3 for that year. And then they had prom, so that was formal number 4 for that year. So yeah, we had a lot of formal that year alone, because you can anticipate her dress, her formal for homecoming was a wedding dress with the train taken off. So you know that's about $700 right there. We had several thousands of dollars in formal dresses that we carried over there. And this was the one year that her dad's sister helped with a formal. This was the first time that had ever happened. Ever. I was just happy to have a little help with some of that. So we just, but we didn't have it. I did not have the formal. So today has kind of been a very busy day. If y'all saw my video from yesterday, my husband and I were installing the appliances. Well, we already had the fridge in, and we already had the stove in, so technically those were already installed. But we were working on, like, getting the dishwasher installed. I'm hoping these are the same exact all the way around. Yeah, it looks like they are. I was like, I'm hoping they are, because if they're not, I'm in trouble, because I have not been paying any attention to this. And sometimes sometimes I could tell they're the same size, and sometimes I can't. But anyway, we got all of the appliances out of the house. Well, a man and lady, that came and got the stove and refrigerator. They came and helped my husband get that out of the house. And we got the dishwasher out. So now I have to go in there and clean out from under it, because let's face it, in the 19 years we've been in this house, I ain't never pulled that dishwasher out and cleaned under it. And we have cats in our house. And there were so many water bottle caps under that dishwasher. Because I have a cat that plays with, well, I used to have a cat that played with bottle caps. I have one now that plays with hair bands, like ponytail holders. And it has to be a certain one. It has to be the one I wear in my hair. We have had under it. Now, of course, there's the dust and the dirt under there that you always have. I was so happy to not pull it out and find an ended rodent under there. Because, I mean, let's face it, it is a trailer. I do live in the woods. And there are cornfields across from my house. And sometimes when they're cutting those cornfields, we see those things. I've not seen them in the house, but I'm not going to be naive to think that they don't get in the house. But I'm guessing with me having 4 cats that are indoors and 2 that are outdoors, that one of them don't stand a chance around our house. Oh, now I don't understand. Look there, I got that much, so this is not going to be good to have that much. I thought I was catching enough of that. Well, I didn't, and I'm not going to worry about it, because I'll just have to put this where a seam catches it or where binding catches it. And it is just a little bit over 1/4 of an inch, so some of it's going to show. But today all we're doing is making the face, I think. It's just really according to what kind of time we have. I'm going to go ahead and sew all of them on. I will need to press. I am coming on doing this directly after the live with Tammy and Alicia. So that's what I was telling you. It's been a very busy day. I had to record the video where I was doing my quilt math for my my borders for the woodruff quilt. I knew that quilt was going to take a little bit extra because I did enlarge it. So, and borders always take me a little while to do anyway. Now these cat faces are going to have cats on them. And what I have to make sure to do is turn this the correct direction. Not put another, I guess I could call it a snowball. Not put another snowball on it on the short side, but on the long side. Because that is the direction these are going to be laying. Okay, so now we start on the second one, and this is the bottom. I'll show you how it is. So I'll put another snowball on this side, and that will make the bottom of the cat face. And once I finish this, I do have to trim it and press it. And guys, I'm just sewing this corner to corner. And like I said, y'all know me, it's just a winging it situation when I have to do this without marking it. Because a lot of times I don't get it done right. So, let's see. We're going to do it this way. I was telling y'all about how busy it was, and I always squirrel when I tell y'all things. But anyway, that couple came and got the stove and refrigerator. And we got the dishwasher out to the road. I had some people say they were interested. It had to be out of my house. So I told them, I said, it's out of the house. It's on the edge of the road. If you want it, come get it. So I hope they were able to come and get it. But my husband has not been able to install my new dishwasher because it does have wiring that needs to be done. It's direct wired into the house. So he has to do that. And that's okay. My husband knows how to do that. That is part of his job where he works. And he's trained to do that. So he's a cross between an electronic engineer. He's not quite an electrician, but he does do electronics, which is electricity. So just so you know, it's electricity and on big things. So I'm not afraid of him wiring something up in my house. He's wired all my outdoor lights and because we've changed so much on the house. The porch lights, that come on a mobile home, we've changed all that out. So he wired all of that up. And let's see, what else has he wired? He's wired in light switches. He's wired in additional outlets. He's wired in like ceiling fans. He's wired in, like in our front bathroom, he did a new vent fan because we wanted one quieter and that worked differently than the one that was in it. He set it on a delayed cutoff. And so he knows how to wire things. But he's still trying to get over those ribs. He won't go get an x-ray to find out if they're broke or not, but he's in severe pain, so they probably are. He says, I've had broke ribs before, they're broke. I'm like, I don't care if you've had broke ribs before. Until they tell you they're broke, you don't know that. But I need him to go to the doctor and get an x-ray so they can tell him he's got broke. He's just saying he's got broke ribs. He don't know. But he did go to a company doctor, and they're like, well, they're probably broke, and getting an x-ray ain't going to do nothing. What can they do? And if they are broken, I'm like, they can wrap them. So I told him, I said, I wouldn't trust a company doctor no further than I can throw them because they don't want to spend that money. That's why they got a company doctor. So if you get hurt, unless it's an emergency and like you just about croaking on them, they don't send you to the hospital. But I'm like, I would have demanded to have been sent to the hospital to have an x-ray. I would have. Because if I'm hurting that bad, oh yeah, we fixing to have an x-ray done. We're going to find out. Because we're going to find out how bad it is. Because he don't realize that if they're broke and they puncture any type of tissue, it could cause a blood clot. And you just really don't want that. And I mean, furthermore, they could puncture your lung. But he's hard-headed. He won't listen. He won't go. But I told him last night when we were eating, and I mean, he was literally crying. He hurt so bad. I told him if he wouldn't go get an x-ray, I didn't want to hear it because we need to find out what's going on. And if he didn't feel like it was bad enough to go get an x-ray, then it wasn't bad enough for him to sit there and act like that. I know, that's insensitive. But I was hoping that that would make him go get an x-ray. But it didn't help. It didn't do no good. But I mean, I am trying to do what I can to help him. Like today, I helped him like remove the door. I picked up the door because I didn't want him lifting anything. You know, in case it is broke ribs, he don't need to be doing that. But we had to use the dolly to get that stuff out of the door, and I mean, I couldn't do that, but I helped. You know, I held it as things were coming down the steps so it wouldn't come down too fast and jerk him. And I want to thank you all for joining me, just even if you're just listening or even if you're sewing something different. Y'all don't have to sew what I'm sewing. I just tell y'all what I'm sewing, so if you want to sew the same thing, you can. It's a really cute little pattern. It does give me some ideas, though. But I'm definitely smashing my stash. Y'all, I'm still... 2025 is my Smash the Stash year, and I've been doing a lot of that. A lot of these fabrics, even though this is a fat quarter bundle, I bought this at the beginning of 2024. Well, I didn't. My husband did. But it was purchased at the beginning of 2024. And I come across it in my reorging, which I'm still reorging. I mean, you still see like all that mess right there. Yeah, I'm still reorging. My husband just let my kitty cat in. And he come over here rubbing on my leg. And he's telling me it's time to go to bed. Because it's probably after 10. Yeah, it's 10:30. I see you, baby doll. Y'all may not be able to see him. See if he raises up here. He's not. He's like, no, I'm not doing that, Mama. But he's telling me it's past his bedtime and he's ready to go to bed. But we're almost done already. It's really... This is a quick. Now, I may go ahead and do another step to get a little more in here for y'all. But this could be a quick sew-along Saturday. And like I said, I'm smashing my stash. I'm using stuff that I have in my stash. I'm really trying to not buy extra fabrics, but every now and then we have a fabric that just we fall in love with. And Alicia mentioned that tonight after the live we were talking. And you know, I'm just being very intentional about the things I buy. But sometimes you just find something that you just have to get. Okay, yeah. Well, I thought about this. I'd started trimming these off. And I thought about this. Why do this when I can take my ears and go ahead and add them on to the next piece. So I have to find the ones that are this same fabric, though. It's probably going to be the one on the very bottom, not the one on the very bottom, but it's going to be my two dark pumpkins. And you'll see what I'm talking about when I get all of this added on here. I need to lay those there. I don't need both of them up here at the same time. But I thought, why don't I just go ahead and sew everything on here. And I can trim and press later. So I am just going to go ahead and add my ears to each one of the fabrics here. And then all I'm doing is just taking my ears and flopping them all over. I'm really not even lining them up all the way down. I'm just lining it up right there at the top and getting that needle in it. Okay, so now the next one is going to be our flowers. Y'all, I just love this fabric. That is gorgeous. And make sure you're putting your ear next to your same color fabric. But make sure you're sewing it with the long edge of that same color fabric next to the, I guess, the top of the fabric. I will press one of these out for you to see what they look like. But these are just adorable. Okay, so now we've got some hot pink with circles. Let's see. Well, there those are. Yeah, these were directional too, so I tried to make sure when I put my cheeks on there that I made sure they were going the right direction. That my girls' heads with hats on them was not upside down. Now, my granddaughter is probably going to love this. My grandson probably will too, because he loves bright colors. But I don't know. He really loves his little sailboat quilt. But he does love that yellow, white, and black one as well. Which I made a pillowcase for that. And I have some fabric left over from the sailboat quilt that I'm going to make him a pillowcase for that as well. Okay, so now our next fabric is some light pink with flowers and pumpkins on it. I'm thinking that's right here. Somehow my fabrics with my cat ears got out of order. I'm sure it was when I was pressing them. After this step, to complete making the blocks, we will put like sashing pieces all the way around. And I guess it's good that I did 2 steps tonight, because next Saturday can be where I do all of the sashing, and that may take a little bit longer. I mean, it may not, but it may. Because I think I will put 2 shorts on the sides and the long on the top and bottom. And that will complete our blocks. And then the last Saturday of the month, we can actually assemble our quilt. I may see about getting a little bit extra of this fabric. I'm going to contact the quilt shop that we purchased this at to see if they happen to have any yardage of it. They may not, I don't know. Because I was thinking if I do this, I could do a pillow. And that would be really cool to have as a pillow for this one. But I may also do a border for this. So these are pumpkins. And I always say I'm going to make these for my grandbabies, but I do need to be realistic. I have way too many quilts right now. the lady that came, the husband and lady that came to get the appliances, she was in the house helping get a part that they needed for the stove, because when they put my new stove in, they did not take the kick, I don't know what it's called, but what it holds the foot of the stove in so it doesn't tilt over. So we had one that came with our new stove, but since it was already one in there, they didn't have to put one in there. So that one was still in the package, so we just gave that one to them to use. So that actually helps, you know. I'm hoping it helps them. But she was in and she saw all my quilts, because I have a quilt rack. It's just a little metal quilt rack, and it was between my kitchen and dining room. And she was like, oh, I love those quilts. She was looking at them. And I had my land that I love laid right on top. You know, it was kind of one of the first ones on top. And she's like, wow, those are so pretty. So I just told her about the channel. And I told her, I said, yeah, that's what I do. I really love doing it. And she was like, well, you obviously love doing it because you make some beautiful quilts. And I'm like, yeah, the quilting makes beautiful quilts. But I didn't tell her that. I just thanked her. I've got to learn how to take a compliment. I do have some beautiful quilts, but they look a hot mess going to the long armor, and they come back looking beautiful. So I think it's the long armor, the quilting, that does it. I just put all the pieces of stuff together. But I really do enjoy it. I enjoy sewing with all of y'all. And Alicia was even talking tonight about how she likes the community. You know, having the community. And that is so true. I like the accountability too. And I never knew there was such a broad quilting community. And I'm so happy to be part of it. This in here seems like it's got a lot of, I don't know why it would have that much difference there. It's almost like my piece was just a little bit too long. That's okay, I make things work. Okay, so we have 2 pumpkins again. And this is coming, oh, did they both? Oh, thank goodness they both turned out where they turned up. I don't know if I planned that. I probably did. I didn't look at the other ones that had things that were directional. I didn't look at it. But I'm sure when I go pressing them out, I will see it. But yet for today, let's see, for my YouTube activities today, like I said, this is Friday. I did the quilt math video for you guys where I was making the border for my woodruff. And then I did a live with Tammy. And now I'm recording our Saturday morning sew along. I've had a lot of time in the sewing room today. It always feels good to have a lot of time in the sewing room. And I'll have a good bit tomorrow as well. Or the day you're seeing this. I'll have a good bit on that in the sewing room also. But I'm hoping my husband can get my dishwasher in. And I can run a load of dishes in the dishwasher. Because I'm really tired of hand washing dishes. I don't mind hand washing dishes. But I really don't want to. I guess it comes down to what I want to do at the moment or not. And the reason why is I have some jars that when I cleared out my fridge, y'all know how jelly jars get put on a shelf and they just get pushed to the back? Well, that happened with a lot of jars. And I just emptied them, and I need to throw them in the dishwasher so I can clean them and store them for next time I need them. Because this year my garden was a wash. I didn't have anything really come out of my garden to put up. Now, a couple of years ago, I had so many cherry tomatoes. They were running out my ears. I think I'm going to plant some Romas next year, so I can make like some tomato sauce and stuff. Even though we don't really eat a lot of things out of the garden, we're getting where we really don't eat a lot of vegetables. We eat a lot of protein. And I don't raise chicken and I don't raise meat. So I don't have the I don't have the place to do that. The place, the space, the acreage, I just don't have it. And I wouldn't want to do that anyway. If I had that, I could probably do rabbits. I tried talking my husband into doing it. I'm like, if it comes down to it, and we have to start growing our own meat, we can get some meat rabbits. And he was like, no, I don't think you know the responsibility for that. Yeah, I do. When I was in high school, I had 21 rabbits. They were mine. My rabbits. So yes, I know what it's like to have rabbits. And because of the rabbits that I had a worm farm also. Because the rabbit pellets were fine, for a worm farm. So I had worms. And worms are real easy to farm, guys. We had an old fridge laid down on its back, because it was no good. It didn't work. Laid it down on its back, and we filled it up with, I don't know what kind of tree it was. It was some kind of conifer tree. It wasn't a cedar tree, but it did have needles on it. But it wasn't a pine tree either. But we mixed that with rabbit pellets, and we also took the rabbit pellets and made garden fertilizer out of it. So, a rabbit can be a multi-purpose. Their waste is great fertilizer because it's a cold fertilizer. And then you grow your own worms to go fishing. And you live, because I lived in high school, I lived what we called the locks and dams. I lived close to it. And we would supply the store at the end of the road with all of their fishing worms. Hey, a buck, of course, it cost. And you feed, let me just say this, you feed them, what is on my fabric? But anyway, you feed them cornmeal. That's all you have to put in there. When I moved away from there, I didn't take all of that with me. And I know that didn't exist a few years after I was gone. It wasn't there. Because nobody kept up with it, so. So guys, we're actually on our last cat head. We're putting our last set of ears on. I will press one of them so y'all can see what it looks like. I don't have to press all of them. I can do one. Okay, we've got them done. I'm going to trim them apart and then trim the block and press it out so y'all can see what they look like. So stay tuned. Okay friends, this is one of our cat heads. It has not been made into a block completely yet, but this is what they will look like. That's a pretty good size block, but when we add the sashing, it's going to be even bigger. So friends, thank you so much for joining me for this quick little video of Love Cats. I hope you're enjoying your Saturday, and I hope to see you back again next week. So please give me a thumbs up before you roll out of here. If you have not yet subscribed, please do. Feel free to leave a comment and tell me what you think. I do try to respond to each and every comment personally. And as always, until I see you again, I hope you have a very blessed day. Bye, guys.